Welcome back to Another Thing. I'm Larry Menti. We've been talking about weather forecasting and the results of the weather when it gets severe and it hits our area. So we talked about the forecasting. Now let's talk about the reaction to the forecast, especially when bad weather is coming our way. Michael Oppegaard is the director of the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office of Emergency Management. Sir, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
And thanks for having me.
So let's take you to the beginnings of a storm. Sure. When you first hear that something may hit, who do you trust? Where do you get your information?
So, you know, there's a lot of media outlets and a lot of weather programs out there that you can subscribe to and take the information from. But we rely on the forecast that comes out of the National Weather Service. For our area here in Monmouth County, we use the Mount Holly Weather Station from the National Weather Service. That's the official government forecast, and that's how we have to make our decisions. We can't use some of the weather blogs and things like that. Although those guys are, you know, very informed and know what they're talking about, we have to stick with that government forecast that drives our decision-making process.
And there's some peril in that, right? I mean, you could be sitting there going, hey, the National Weather Service is telling us that this thing's not going to hit, and you're watching some guy on TV saying you're going to get pounded.
Sure. And it's a balancing method for us, and it's always a challenging component coming into these storm events. You know, what we're being told by the Weather Service, what's being broadcasted by the media, and where do we take our posture in, you know, educating the public as to what we want them to do.
Have you found over time that the National Weather Service has been better than the local meteorologists?
I wouldn't say better or worse. I mean, you know, that's kind of, you know, pitting the people together, you know, against one another. But I think the National Weather Service, I know that, but you know, the Weather Service has gotten very good. There's a lot of great products out there that they've developed. And their communication with us as the emergency management community and public safety has gotten profoundly better over the last several years.
I will tell you this, that I've looked at studies and recent studies about the National Weather Service and the local news forecast. National Weather Service is always better, is always more accurate when it comes to storms coming.
I mean, let's face it, although it's, you know, they're part of the, you know, the quasi-government process, they're funded that way. That's where we go for those forecasts, and they have to be good at it.
So then you know a storm's coming. The National Weather Service says this thing's going to hit. What goes into operation? So,
you know, depending on the, you know, what they're predicting, you know, we have varying levels of actions that we do, so to speak. Talking about, you know, some coastal storm, nor'easter or hurricane or whatever, we have a timeline in our plans, our emergency plans, that we kind of follow. So if we're 5 days out, you know, we're looking at this thing and, you know, that may be coming up the coast in a tropical event, and we have certain trigger points in our plans that say at 5 days out, these are the things that we should be doing in emergency management. And really a lot at that point here, you know, in the Northeast and area, that is, you know, public education, what the public should be doing, what we want the residents to start doing in order to get prepared for that storm.
Do you get frustrated when residents hear your warnings and go, I've been down this road before,
Sure, we do. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're not immune to the fact that we cry wolf certain times. But every single decision and every single message that we put out is in the interest of public safety and, you know, first and foremost, life safety. You know, so we don't take those decisions lightly. The last thing that we ever want to do is tell people to evacuate their homes because they feel safe there and that's where they really belong. But in order to protect their lives, we need to ask them to leave, and those decisions are certainly not made in a light fashion. We take those very seriously, and we don't order them often, but when we do, we want the people to listen.
When you do, you're being serious.
We're being serious,
you
absolutely.
Get to a certain... Two things that I want to find out how much they play into your decisions.
Sure.
Finances, sure. Politics. Let's start with finances.
Sure. Finances, everything, you know, costs money. So, you know, we're always looking at, you know, what the economic downfall or the economic cost of our operations could be. However, when it comes to the public safety and life safety, you know, dollars and cents, I don't want to say are completely out the window, but they take a backseat to those decisions that we're making.
Let's go to politics, because we're running out of time. Because I think I got that answer, that when it comes to a disaster, cost kind of goes out the window, and then you figure it out afterwards. Politics.
Sure, politics. Well, you know, it's in New Jersey and in this area, it is, you know, a game. With, in Monmouth County, we have 53 municipalities, 53 emergency management coordinators, 53 mayors, and we all need to be on the same page when we make these things. So although we're making a decision maybe based on some coastal towns, you know, the inland towns are like, hey, why does this affect me? So there's always a juggling factor when it comes to those decisions. And, you know, how come a decision that you're making, you know, that really impacts a coastal community is being imposed upon us in the western part or an inland community?
Because a lot of mayors lose re-election because they don't plow the streets in time during a big storm.
Sure, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, we can pick apart any response to things. You know, everybody goes out, they employ all their resources when these disasters happen and these storms happen. And, you know, when you have a snowstorm or an event like a snowstorm and it's dumping 3-4 inches an hour, you know, you could plow the street at 8 o'clock in the morning and 2 hours later, you know, you need to get back there. But the towns are so big and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. You just can't get back there every hour.
Sir, thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do. I appreciate it. Mike Oppegaard is the director of the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office of Emergency Management. Hey, have you heard the big news? There is a pill that can help treat Alzheimer's. Some are calling it a cure. Dawn will have much more on that when Another Thing continues.